Google moved their information security mindset over to the zero trust Forrester research thought process a couple of years ago. And it's a good concept to engage in because it demands redundancy, okay? It demands a multi-layered defense against hackers and bad actors and, employees engaging in stupid behavior that could lead to exploits that could compromise our network, our systems, our data, okay? So in the web filtering example we're going to talk about right now, deploy our web filtering module at the endpoint device level. Okay, you still have your IP reputation rules on the firewall, but you have an additional layer of security using our web filtering module, and we're going to talk about that right now. I'm going to show you how easy it is to set it up and the feature sets behind it. First thing we do with everything is we want to create a management group. So we're going to do that right now. So in this pane right here, we would have if this was broken down by department, some of these existing AD4 structure, we would have department groups, if you will. And it might just be a very simple matter, seeing that all the AD credentials will be in that group anyway, just using the pre-existing groups to set up our policies. That's what you want to do. But if you don't have a specific group to your liking, no problem. Let's just create a group. So we'll call this Sales and Marketing Web Filter policy. We call anything we want. And then what we're simply going to do now is, let me just refresh my screen here real quick, stand by. That is interesting. All right, Sales Web Filter. I know why it's telling you. I was in the wrong module. Look at that. I had to actually be in my testing here. Okay, group management. Here we go. That's the test drive unit. I can't populate any data in there. All right. All right. So getting back to what I was saying before, Sales and Marketing Web Filter. Perfect. Well, we have the group that we already created. Now let's add devices. Okay. So let's say everybody sitting at their same device all the time. They're not moving around. Say we're in a hospital as an example, from device to device and logging in to different terminals. Just use the static model. So we're going to input devices in here based on NetBIOS address. We're just going to highlight that. Now we set up our user group here based on NetBIOS. We're going to go to recording and blocking. Well, as you saw, very easy to set up a custom monitoring group. Set up the group. We put the devices, in this case, via NetBIOS into the group, and those devices are now going to be monitored. We're going to go in here and make some changes to this group now. So here's where all the magic happens. So as you can see here, we have our options panel here. Okay, let's just double check. We have our devices in here that we want to monitor this web filtering policy. We're going to click off a whole bunch of stuff. We obviously want this toggle on to investigation mode. Don't worry, that's gray listed out because in the past, we learned from our mistakes, as most IT companies should. People were getting 30-day licenses of our software, and we gave them a full investigation mode license where a pop-up window would not occur on startup saying this device is being monitored. The problem is they would use the software for 30 days, monitor the people they wanted to monitor. Then we call them up and say, hey, how many licenses would you want? And they basically never call us back or say, well, thank you very much. So we learned very early on that we need to pay for our product because that's what most businesses do. So we're going to toggle off the recorded emails piece here. Instant messaging and chats is going to be off. Keystrokes will be on. We're going to record the websites they go to, turn off the recorded programs, printed documents, network bandwidth. It might be helpful from a quality and service perspective, okay? Might be helpful to us to augment that with information we're giving up the firewall, so we will keep that on. Cloud tracking off, login events off, block websites on. block programs off, our camera screenshots off, alert word screenshots on. And I'll show you why that is in a second. So I'm going to set up a very simple custom web filtering policy based on that. So we're just going to click Save. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into blocking websites. So we're going to make some changes to this policy. So here's our web filtering interface here. So as you can see, we have a fully robust IP reputation categorization tool here. So each IP address is analyzed by a team of 2 analysts and updated many, many different times during the day. Obviously, we have categories to block adult websites. We have individual categories here. If you wanted to toggle off, God forbid, why you wouldn't want to toggle those, especially in the corporate environment. Obviously, all malicious websites. So think of this as a separate FortiGuard service at the endpoint, if you will. If you're familiar with FortiGuard and their team of cloud experts, they're constantly, adding to that database they have of banned IP addresses. Where we're using, we have a similar service in place here as an example. As I already denoted here, you have the ability to offload the IP blacklist database off of your firewall. You have rules to do that. You can upload that database via CSV here. You can go to a website like this as an example and pull off banned IP addresses and then upload them to the banned IP addresses here, as you can see, and check them off as an example. We can also whitelist websites, which further limits the diameter of the spout, if you will. Further creates a trickle-down effect of data. So we can block all websites except those in our allowed IP address list. So you can set up the IP address. You could literally, if you wanted to, from a VPN perspective, from a browser perspective, you could force them to go to the same IP address to log in via VPN to do any corporate activity, which is, again, a lot of people need to log into the corporate servers via VPN, but they don't necessarily have to do that unless they're going into the main share side in order to get specific documents off there. Well, like I said, the problem here is that they can do the rest of their business during the day, whether going to Salesforce or going to other work-related websites. You can literally force everybody into the same VPN using same browser if you wanted to, okay, to eliminate that threat vector. It's up to you. There's a myriad of different ways and whitelisting techniques that could be executed with our product. Now, I brought up the alert word screenshot thing before, and also blocking by content. So one of my other customers has said, you know what, it'd be really cool, Brian, if we could have a way to stop all these people from going on these political websites today. Because we're seeing a lot of people going on to this stuff and, Trump and Clinton and all this other stuff. Today it's Bill Clinton's love child. That's an example. I don't know if you saw that on the Drudge Report, but it's all over this. It's just great. It's a great political season we have here. But in any event, basically speaking, what we can do is simply this. So this is where we're going to get into our a discussion of our wildcard query capability here. So I can go in here and I can create a custom alert word. Believe it or not, this is very simple. And I'm going to add a category container. So I'm going to call this Trump, or let's say political. Let's call it political web filter. Politics web filter, whatever. Just search for that. Highlight that. Let's add some simple words here. Very simple. Trump. All right. Okay. And let's add Clinton. Okay. So basically, this will pretty much stop any web-based political query out there. So they're not going to be going to MSNBC or CNN or anything else. It'll force them to get back to their job, so to speak. So when we go back to making changes now to our web filtering policy here, this is a very simple example, but it highlights the use case, I think, very well. we go back in here, now we can go to alert word screenshots, if you will. So if you're looking to reduce waste in an environment, okay, search for politic, here we go. Anytime they type or view Trump or Clinton, that can be any political website out there, any iteration. We're going to get a screenshot of that, so let's just make sure the policy is all set up, hit save. And I'll just show you an example of what that would look like. This is our test driving world. Today is populated, so obviously we just would have to go on and log in to the management console here. And we see the triggers here. So we had our politic web filter here, which we don't have because I can't make changes to the corporate test driving unit. This would be an example of what you'd see. You'd see an actual screenshot of what they were looking at when they either typed or viewed Trump or Clinton as an example. Very cool. Very cool. Yep. And that could be for anything, literally. It could be for anything. From a website perspective, we would be able to see all the websites they went to, just as a further iteration of the monitoring capabilities. We set up the IP reputation. But again, those websites they do visit, we'll be able to see here. Okay, type of activity we're talking about as an example. Okay, so that's very important. Additional web filtering information, IP reputation information, we'll have to be able to sort through and look at our discretion. That is our web filtering capability. So we saw a number of different things here. Very easy to set up policy groups. We set up an alert word, and we showed you what our web filtering module does.